Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 17th of March. In this video, we'll be comprehensively trying to address this issue of artificial intelligence. We'll try to understand its uses, its applications, what is the impact it will have on various walks of life. At the same time, we'll also be covering the ethical dimension. So, this is going to be a comprehensive discussion about artificial intelligence, India's strategy, and its role in our economy. The basis for this particular discussion is an article from the Hindu. But before we get into the specifics of this article, we'll discuss certain basic aspects of what artificial intelligence is all about. A few years ago, if we were talking about this topic, this would have sounded like a science fiction movie. But today we have machines which are actually accomplishing the tasks that have historically required human intelligence. So, a domain called machine learning has come into existence because of the volume of data that is created, and private companies are actually envisaging a future in which data is treated as the new oil for decision making. We're comparing it with oil because oil has been responsible for growth of wealth in the 20th century. Let me give an example. So there are a lot of algorithms and codes that are around the humans to understand their commands and perform human-like tasks. Say for example, you have Facebook, and within Facebook there is a list of suggested friends for its users. Now how does this happen? A pop-up page comes up and tells us that there is an upcoming sale of your favorite, say a brand of shoe or clothes or whatever it is. How does this happen? This is basically because of analysis of data, and based on that, actually the decision scientist will create an algorithm in such a way that curated content is given out to a particular user depending upon his preferences. That is the power of data. Around 2010, these decisions were actually taken by humans by writing a code. Now, in the present scheme of things, it has evolved to such a level that even the code is being written by machines. So, this is the present state of artificial intelligence, where it is characterized by machines. There is agility, there is volume to handle, and pace. With such huge potential across almost every domain, this is going to be the harbinger of change for future's economy. This is a given fact, and we already know it. Just to put things into context, the World Economic Forum, which is a private organization where individuals and countries as well as civil society organizations, businesses all come together on a platform to discuss about things that have impact on the sustainable development of economy and all the countries around our world. In this forum, it is decided that, or it is branded as the future. That is, artificial intelligence has been dubbed as Industrial Revolution 4.0. So, the first three industrial revolutions, the first one happened when steam engine was invented. Some argue that the first revolution happened when the wheel was invented, but for proper understanding, I mean, in the common parlance, we'll treat it as the invention of steam engine somewhere around 1750 for the syllabus of this exam. So the second industrial revolution happened when the tea assembly line or manufacturing lines were created by Henry Ford, and after that the evolution of computer age, that is IT age, because of the growth of companies like IBM, Microsoft, Apple, etc., has culminated into Industrial Revolution 3.0. Now, in the next phase, we're talking about IR 4.0, where giants like Amazon, Facebook, or platforms like Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media platforms are going to decide what you should be watching, what you should be doing on their platforms, and how the economy should be shaping up depending upon the data that we create. And we are so amalgamated with this entire curriculum and entire framework that it is too difficult to come out right now. Digital presence is created as an asset for the future. Given this fact, there is always a scope for negative usage. So that is the scope of this article. There are some people who think that we are actually overestimating the impact that artificial intelligence will have on the future of our economy. There have been instances where artificial intelligence has been used for increasing crop productivity as well. If a sector like agriculture, which is considered to be a rural occupation, can be impacted by artificial intelligence, if the people still believe that artificial intelligence is not going to take over the future's economy, they are still living in denial. Given all this context, it is all the more important that countries come together to create frameworks and certain guidelines in utilizing this artificial intelligence. So, just to quote an example, what can happen if this does not happen? We must have all watched a lot of science fiction movies, and we already have our own movie like Robo, where artificial intelligence can actually go wrong or against humanity, because there is no distinction between right and wrong as artificial intelligence is concerned. So the framework and the ethical guidelines which artificial intelligence creators and the machine learning experts should follow, and what the countries overall should be adapting, is the point of discussion in this present article. Now let us examine one by one. The first problem is unemployment, because ever since the debate of AI came into picture, there has been debate that a lot of jobs which are considered to be low paying will be completely automated, leading to a huge unemployment. Even though this is exaggerated to a bit, but indeed low paying unskilled jobs will definitely be automated, and there is a risk of a increase in unemployment. The hierarchy of labor is concerned primarily with this automation. So robotics and artificial intelligence companies are building intelligence machine that perform the task associated with these low paying jobs by the low income workers, as if they are self-service kiosks. Just to say, for example, you go to a market or you go to a supermarket, there are a lot of employees there trying to help the customers there, like picking up the fruits or vegetables that customers might be seeking, or the cashiers at this cash counter. All this can be automated. Moreover, it is expected that a lot of jobs which have which are traditionally considered to be menial jobs, or even some skilled jobs like accountants, financial traders, and middle managers, who would actually be offering a service, even those services can be automated to a large extent. That is another threat. The second concern is with respect to the growing inequality in the world. We already have a scenario where the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. If you just take a look at the pandemic has given rise to 21% more billionaires in a time when 95% of the world struggle to make their ends meet. So this is the potential of digital technology. If the wealth is not redistributed, it will lead to a mechanism where inequality will become a norm. So the future of our economy will definitely have a concept of universal basic income. The debates would differ from person to person, but unless and until the government creates such a framework, this inequality issue where the rich is getting super rich and the poor is being facing extreme pressure on their income levels, this will actually create a atmosphere where even the rich will not feel safe because of possibility of revolutions. Third problem is about the moral issue involved in the use of big tech platforms. If you take a example of a platform like Netflix, there are a lot of studies which say that Netflix like platforms are, it keeps the users hooked to the platform. That is, people have a habit of binge watching Netflix shows. it is considered as entertainment, but strictly speaking, it is lack of productivity from our side, and it will actually create a scenario where we'll have huge deficits in our attention spans, which will also lead to certain cognitive lapses from our end. Another issue that this article talks about is we have to remember that these robots are created by human beings. Human beings have inherent biases. Now, those inherent biases, when they manifest at highest level, and when these robots, which are created by human beings, carry out discrimination, it will be extremely unfair. Just to quote an example, recently YouTube's AI algorithm has actually blocked a chess platform which was using the words white and black, because it confused this particular video of chess as a racist abuse. So this distinction and the context of a particular event or a particular video or any such phenomenon is not actually a domain of artificial intelligence at this present moment. So this issue of discrimination has two dimensions. One, it should not discriminate without a context, and secondly, it should avoid taking into consideration the inherent biases of the person who designs these robots. So both these issues are a cause of concern. Again, this might sound like a science fiction movie, but what if this artificial intelligence actually turns against humans? This is one more possibility being raised by a lot of scientists and policymakers. So just imagine a artificial intelligence systems that is asked to eradicate cancer in the world. So if it comes out with a formula that does in fact bring about the end of cancer by killing everyone on the planet, it is an extreme possibility, but it can consider that possibility as well. And with the case of autonomous weapons which are guided by artificial intelligence, what if they go rogue? These are the kind of questions which facilitate a debate and discussion about the future of artificial intelligence in this world. It is in this context that the National Strategy for Artificial Intelligence created by Niti Aayog is very useful. So this particular policy talks about creating a framework which facilitates responsible use of artificial intelligence. In this particular document and the vision, the concept of whole of society is at the core. So the bottom line of this entire discussion is this: science and technology as such is neither good nor bad. It is only based on how we actually use it. Understanding the principles of nuclear fusion and fission can actually help in creating sustainable energy. But it is the human mind that created an atom bomb. So can we actually blame nuclear fusion and nuclear fission? We can't really do that, because they are natural phenomenon which were discovered by a good scientist and put to good use in the case of nuclear reactors and nuclear power. But the case of atom bomb is an extreme example where science and technology, if it does not have the required ethical frameworks, can cause unprecedented havoc in a particular society. Similarly, this is the time for creating artificial intelligence based on ethical frameworks that are created after proper deliberations of all the stakeholders involved. So that is the gist of this article.